Hey YouTube, so this is my laptop, the Dell XPS 139350, and today I'm going to show you how you can dual boot Ubuntu with Windows on it. So let's get started.
Alright, so as you can see, I have the Dell XPS 139350 Signature Edition laptop. It has 8 GB of RAM and a Core i5 Skylake CPU. So the first step, whenever you want to install Ubuntu or any Linux operating system for that matter, is to prepare your USB. So there are multiple softwares that will do this for you, but my favorite one is USB installer, Universal USB installer. Let's see what this has to offer, shall we? So here we go. Why I like the software so much is that it has a lot of options for many different distros that you would not normally find in any other software. For example, Manjaro Linux, Minty Mac, and many more. So let's just select our Ubuntu, our favorite distro. So what we are going to do here is browse to where we have the ISO file for Ubuntu. An ISO file is an image file that you can download from the distro's website. Let's open it up. Now let us select our USB. As you can see, this is my USB. 14 GB is its storage. It is a USB 3.0. So let's select it. Be careful that you do not pick this option, because if you do, it is going to show all of your drives together and you won't be able to distinguish between which is your data drive and which is your USB. So my recommendation would be to leave it as it is. Select your USB and click on format. So now here is an important bit of information. This option that says select a persistent file size, you can choose it between 0 and 4 gigs almost. My recommendation would be to go with 4 gigs if you want to use your Linux distribution as a portable operating system, where you can take your USB with you wherever you want, and any changes that you make on it will be saved in that 4 gigs of space. But if you just want to check out the distro without making large changes or storing large files such as movies on it, you can just go with 200 MBs of data. It will be enough to save your changes, but not so much that it won't have a huge impact on creating the USB later on. I will show you in a minute what I mean by that. So let's just hit create. Now it is going to take a while, so bear it with me. Let's go. Okay, read all of this, blah blah blah. Now this is going to take a while. Let's just skip this part and come back to it later. Another thing that I would just like to point out here is the different options you have regarding BIOS and UEFI, the latest BIOS that you get with newer hardware. So the interesting thing about this software, the Universal USB installer, is that it detects what kind of BIOS you have, whether the old simple BIOS or UEFI hardware, and makes the bootable USB accordingly. So if you have a UEFI system, it will make a UEFI compliant bootable USB. So you don't need to worry about that, and you don't have to specify it yourself. All of that is taken care of automatically. So for me, it will make a UEFI BIOS, and that is important because the distribution or the operating system that you install later on from that flash drive will be installed accordingly. So if you have a USB bootable drive, UEFI bootable drive, it will make a UEFI compliant installation, and a BIOS compliant your flash drive will make a BIOS compliant installation at the end. So you have to make sure that you have the necessary USB prepared for your hardware. So the flash drive has been created as a bootable USB. So some pointers over here are that first of all, my recommendation would be to use a USB 3.0 compliant flash drive. What that means is that not only will your USB preparation go a lot faster, such as for me it took about 4 minutes. On the other hand, if I had USB 2.0 drive, it would have taken nearly 10 minutes to make this USB. But also later on in the installation phase, you will install a whole distribution or an operating system in like just minutes, in a matter of minutes, whereas on a USB 2.0 drive it could take half an hour or so, or perhaps even more. So use a USB 3.0 drive. And also during this process, like I mentioned earlier, the persistent file size should be kept as small as possible if you want the installation to go faster, because after copying all of the files, it makes the persistent file size at the end. So the larger that file is, the more time it will consume. So try to keep it as low as possible. Okay, so let's close this down. So in this next video, I'll be showing you how to prepare your XPS 13 to properly allow for the dual booting of Ubuntu and Windows 10. So stay tuned for that. See you next time.